Why am I playing it? Because, well, I told you, I am having the blackest week ever. And in that song, he talks about his mom, loves to show him off, smiles every time my face is up in the source. Well, guess what, guys? My face is up in the source. Check out these headlines. I've been just really trying to get into black media and have them say something nice about me, and it happened. This first from the source. Candace Owens on Beyonce's country music. She's more country than Taylor Swift ever was. Next headline over here in Vibe. Candace Owens defends Beyonce. Says she's more country than Taylor Swift. Yes, guys, 2 positive headlines, and we are celebrating because I also have a ton of media booked up. Look, this is a picture of me and Joe Budden yesterday. It actually happened. We sat down. I'm going to tell you about that discussion. I don't think it's going to air for another week, but I'm going to give you guys the scoop. But first, I want to also point to this moment because I do think that this is a sign that something bigger might be happening in black media. I really do. I think that within black America, people are starting to listen and to understand that our minds have been polluted. Really, to our own disadvantage. We have been protesting and looting because we have been lied to routinely. And a moment that recently happened was that Piers Morgan sat down with Charlemagne the God of the Breakfast Club, and he just dropped some facts. It was a wonderful moment. Take a listen to it.
You mentioned Obama. So this is an interesting little question I always throw people. Interesting if you guys know the answer. How many illegal immigrants, did Barack Obama deport in his 8 years as president?
Oh, I don't know.
Have a guess.
No clue.
No clue. Interesting, right?
Read
the
that it was more
the
than
answer
Trump.
is over 3 million.
Damn.
He was known as deporter-in-chief by Mexicans.
Yes. And that was more than Trump did.
He deported way more than
Yeah,
Trump.
I
He
read
deported way more pro rata than any president in history. Who dropped the most bombs in a calendar year in American history?
Oh, come on. President Barack Obama.
Barack Obama,
Yeah,
right? Including drone programs and so on, right? Who got elected in 08, 09 on shutting down Guantanamo Bay? Because as a former lawyer, he believed it was an illegal institution.
President
Barack
Barack
Obama.
Obama. Yeah.
What is still open today?
Guantanamo Bay?
Correct, right? I know that the general thing is Obama angel, Trump devil.
Right.
But if you actually apply the scrutiny that we give Trump, put it this way, if Trump had deported 3 million people, you think you guys wouldn't know that answer? Of course you would, right? Nobody knows that answer because nobody thought that way about Saint Barack.
But you know what the interesting thing about that is that when you sit here and you have this conversation with people and you talk in truth and you say, well, the very thing that you say that you hate Trump for is the thing that Obama championed and you loved him for it. And as a matter of fact, one of the common narratives for Barack Obama amongst the blackity black people is that he didn't do anything for black people, but y'all still support the very person that was standing next to him while he was in the White House for 8 years. And then we had an additional 4 years of Joe Biden, which is basically a 12-year span of our lives that we've had of an influence of Joe Biden, largely championed by and leapfrogging off of the backs of what it is that y'all voted for with Obama. And the very thing that Trump was doing, some of the things that he adopted based off of the Obama presidency, is the thing that y'all hate Trump for. And then subsequently, you hate Candace Owens and me and whoever it is that's black that absolutely, positively supports the very thing that you supported before Trump even got into office. Ain't that crazy? Isn't it insane? Isn't it crazy how you guys are so, and I'm not even talking about y'all in the chat or the bag chasers. It's amazing to me how we're so sheep that we can't even think for ourselves, and it takes for somebody to create a slogan like Black Lives Matters for y'all to come together and then to vote for the thing that's not even in your interest. Or to vote based off of hating somebody else. And then you take somebody like Candace Owens, right? Who the black community and black culture for a long time is basically painted the prototype, shout out to you, Anwar, is painted the prototype of what women are supposed to be like as far as their loyalty, their ability to communicate, not having a whole lot of makeup, wearing their natural hair, standing on principle as far as what traditional wives and actually being able to think for ourselves, also thinking logically and being able to articulate why she's more conservative than liberal. We don't like. I just showed y'all the video of a chick that's poly, that's fucking everybody, and everybody in the chat said, "Oh my God, that is so bad." And then you got a Candace Owens who literally has done nothing to anybody except for have a conversation about the fact that Black Lives Matter was a fraud organization, which it was. And the very thing that she supports is the thing that's best for black people, which it is. Yet she has to intentionally go and seek out black media to clear her name on the idea that black people are now starting to wake up to the possibility that we've been doing it wrong all this time. But they never gonna come back and say, you know what? We was wrong about Candace, or we was wrong about Anton. I never, ever, the only time that I hear people wind up backtracking on what it is that they said is when I cam up on them and I come at them. When I cam up and I come after people, then they be like, and they still don't admit it. I just wax the fucking floor with them, and then they be feeling some type of way. But the reality is, I've never, ever seen one person ever come back to the front of the congregation and say, you know what? I was off. Or he was right on that and I communicated it wrong. Or Candace Owens was right about Black Lives Matters. Or we should have never even bought them shirts in the first place. Or we got finessed. Because nobody is asking for a refund for Black Lives Matters. I've not seen one person, not one person, come back and say, you know what? I voted for Joe Biden and I was wrong. I bought the Black Lives Matters t-shirt. I was out there marching during COVID and I shouldn't have been out there because it should have been 6 feet, no check. I have not seen one person, not one, admit that they was off on anything. And it's crazy. It's insane.
I love that moment so much for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, the fact that they are open to hearing it, right? Because you have certain people within Black America that are just deemed untouchable, and for whatever reason Barack Obama is, which means that the media and their celebration of Obama, oh, he's so wonderful because he speaks well, was able to cast a spell. That's the truth. Cast a spell on Black America, made us believe that this was a champion for our rights. Meanwhile, there has never been a president that has dropped more bombs on Black and brown people in the Middle East. That is just a fact, and it's something that makes people uncomfortable. Yes, it is a fact that he deported over 3 million people. And yet when Donald Trump said, I'm just going to build the wall, we're not even going to talk about deportation, people freaked out, called him racist, called him xenophobic. And it was really interesting for me to have sat down with Joe Budden yesterday. I honestly think our interview went on for 3 hours to really sort of get into that consciousness. What is it that makes you so angry when you see a Black Trump supporter? Because that is the source of all of the hatred for me in Black America. How dare you support Donald Trump when the media told us that he was bad? How dare you not say great things about Obama when the media told us that he was great? And to go through that process and to recognize this alarming paradox within Black America that we are the most politically incorrect individuals, if you just want to assess out.
Is everything pinned to the top of the chat as far as the Patreon? I'm not in the, I can't see it right now because I don't have it pulled up. I'll pull it up in a minute. I want to make sure that the link for y'all to be able to ask y'all questions and everything is pinned to the top of the chat. And I'm going to read that super chat shortly. I just want to make sure it's pinned. So y'all let me know if it's pinned to the top of the chat, please.
Our culture and our music. And yet when it comes to politics, we demand political correctness. We demand to be lied to. And I said that to Joe Budden when he said, oh, even if that's true regarding a situation pertaining to Donald Trump, even if that's true, he shouldn't say it. I pressed him on that. I said, so what are you saying? Are you suggesting that we should be lied to? Are you suggesting that it's good to be lied to as long as it sounds good? And I think you'll find his answer to that to be pretty interesting. And that really is the question for all Americans.
Do we want to be lied to? Just curious. All right, it's pinned. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Messi. Thank you, Mr. BX. Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everybody. Do we like being lied? Do we prefer to be lied to? I've always believed that it was best to just be real. That's why I live my life like an open book. Do you know that that's the reason? That's one of the reasons why I don't have like an alias online. Have y'all noticed that? Most people, you wind up finding out what their real name is, but I don't have an alias. Like I never came in like the supercomputer or the crazy stock guru or Mr. Fly Guy or all of this stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. Half of these people, 90% of the people online, y'all don't know their real names. And people will get pissed if you discover their real name. People get pissed when you discover their real names. I came into the game as Anton Daniels. Listen, you look up whatever you want to look up on me. I ain't got nothing to hide. I ain't tripping. I'm just me. Like, I'm Anton. I'm from Detroit. I'm 41 years old. This is my net worth. This is what my bank accounts look like. This is what my brokerage accounts look like. I got a regular job, 2 on top of it. I got 8 sources of income. I got these properties that I'm building. This is what I do, whatever, so on and so forth. Like, from birth, from the beginning. And it's almost for people, it's like, I think that people are so used to being lied to that they've found comfort in the lie versus what the truth would be. Right? So much so to where, like, you're not a real person if you don't have an alias or a rap name or none of that, right? Like, we think Future name is Future. He named his son Future instead of naming his son Nadavius or whatever his name is. I just always been me. And I even believe that when it comes to women and relationships. Like, I've always just been real. And so when you see me talk online, this is what my real thoughts are. Hey, listen, I love women. And I'm married. That's just life. And most men think the same way. They just don't have the balls to tell you the truth. Hey, look, I love being around beautiful women. And I'm not going to not look because my eyes still work and I'm still attracted to all of these beautiful women. Now I have dick discipline, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have dick discipline. But I'm not gonna cut my eyes off and act like that's not a source of my inspiration. Who the fuck don't want to be around beautiful people that got a sweet spirit too on top of it? You know what I'm saying? But then if I say that shit out loud, oh my God, he's so disrespectful. No, the nigga that's disrespectful is the nigga that's fucking somebody on the side that's telling you what you want to hear. But in reality, you fucked up at home. But then they say, well, Anton, you crazy. No, I deal in reality, and then I give you a solution to live the best life possible. And it's the same thing when it comes to politics. It's the same thing when it comes to Candace Owens. It's the same thing across the board. Like, people should want to live in truth. Yeah, 45 from Nigeria, and not 41 from the D. Exactly. I don't know why people don't want to live in truth. Let's just be real. Let's be real. And then let's find a solution on top of it. But here's what's real. The migrant crisis is fucking y'all over. And it's going to be the middle class that suffer as a result of it. $40,000 ain't going to be enough to be able to survive as an individual, let alone be able to feed a family. And so, it's people are weird because they want to be lied to. Like, even women, they want you to tell them a lie. They believe the guy that they know that that's lying to them online, but tell them what they want to hear versus the guy that tell them the truth that would allow for you to actually get to the results.
Right now, does it make us
B-Love says, Anton, I respect all that, but we all do hide some things online. Nobody's clean. Like what? Ask me whatever you want to ask me. Anybody can come up on, listen, I'm so real. You don't know one content creator, not one, that has the visibility that I have and is willing to let anybody come up here and either debate me, hold me accountable, or say what they want to say to me. So even think about it like this. Even the people that may make videos, of course, lying about me, but of course, you can't do nothing about that because anybody can say anything that they want. But even people that make videos about me, have you ever asked yourself, how come they don't come up here and actually talk to you face to face, Anton? Have y'all ever thought about that? Like, why are people so afraid of me, But at the same time, they willing to say whatever it is that they want to say to me or about me. The link is literally in the chat. I'm talking to you in real time right now. I drop the link every single day. I have 0 secrets. 0. Why are people so scared to do it then? 0. My entire life is an open book. Sean Spillman is coming up. Let me read a couple of the super chats before I allow for people to be able to come up. Solutions Trucking Channel says, and I switched over to the night shift, so I missed MML show live, but thank God for after hours. You get me through the night, big dog. I appreciate you. Shout out to the Solution Trucking Channel, and make sure y'all go and check them out. Joshua says, not to be awkward, but Candace low-key fine to me. That ain't awkward. She fine as fuck. I love her. Also, Bite My Shiny Metal Ass says, came in to say, keep pushing the message. I'm 23 years old with a shout out to you, family, with that 100 bands. Just came to the Bag Chasers yesterday. Hey, shout out to all of the people that joined the Patreon. I'm doing the after hours stock club tomorrow on Sunday. Sean, what's up?
How you doing, brother?
I'm chilling, my friend. How you feel?
Man, blessed. I first want to give you a salute. I found out about you through Angry Man and Israel Mills, and just been following your page, and I really congratulate people like you and Candace that speak the truth in the face of power, even though it's not a popular position.
Yo, Sean, you got a dope look.
Thank you, brother.
You want to be on camera?
Oh yeah. Am I cammed up now?
I'm about to make sure that you up real quick. Give me a second. Yo, what up, Sean?
Peace, brother. Peace and blessings. Listen,
hold on, wait a minute. You making me look bad because you got the grays and your shit is in the man bun.
No, yours has got the salt and pepper. That's the way to win.
Let me go get my other glasses out here in these streets, man.
Let me give you credit. I found out about you through Angry Man and Israel Mills. I watched both those their channels. I've known both of them about 30 years. Been friends with them.
Really?
Yes. And so it was Angry Man that was suggesting to Israel and I in about 2017 to get in with him on the YouTube, and it's a lot of energy that went into the conversation. We met in Raleigh. And I'm proud of Angry Man. I mean, he's an icon in the game. So are you as well.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, but there is a trend in the, in the Black community, has historically been, in my observation, that a lot of Black people don't want to be told the truth, especially by either white people or people of their same race. Now, some people will say, especially Black people, which I don't care. If you ask Angry Man in Israel, they'll tell you my background. W. Du Bois wrote a book called The Ways of White Folks, even though he wasn't white. So through observation, my observation has been a lot of Black people get offended when somebody speaks the truth. Minister Farrakhan has been saying the same thing for 40, 50, 60 years that Candace Owens is saying.
Exactly. He has.
Yeah. So I don't want to take up too much of your time. I love dialoguing with you. But I also watched a thing with you when you were talking about the migrant crisis in Chicago. And I did a reaction to it because you gave a systematic breakdown of how this is affecting Black people. Yep. I'm getting ready to have a debate locally here in North Carolina. And most of the people that are against, listen, brother, most of the people that are against me on this are Black people. One gentleman asked,
really?
Oh, yeah. Listen, he says, and that's crazy because he says, oh, why would they replace Black people when they're brown themselves? I said, if you don't know, the agendas are different. We're not really getting caught up into the hue, but yeah. So your show is powerful, brother. How do I get in contact? Can you inbox me an email or number? I'd like to interview you.
My email is antondaniels413@gmail.com. And let me give a shout out to your channel. It's called Reactions by Sean Spillman. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Very, very small. I just reacted to it, reacting to music and. But if I can give like 20-second history, Israel.
Do your thing, bro. You listen. I always love to show love to people.
Thank you. I appreciate you, man. I got a lot of respect Yeah. So Israel and I years ago, uh, in Raleigh and in North Carolina, started a DVD, like a smack DVD called Foaming at the Mouth.
Okay.
And I still have that YouTube channel up, but that's when we had to go out and interview people in the streets, and you had to sell the DVDs, kind of like the Smack or the Come Up, Fendi
Yep.
and them.
Yep.
And so we hit the East Coast. We made a little presence in our little pocket, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. But because we didn't keep up with the time and technology went to the internet, that I'm trying to get back into more of the interviewing side, because I think I just love dialoguing with people. My big passion is I love interviewing people, and I think that you have such a great spirit. We come up here with our names.
Yep.
There's no hidden agenda. We don't have nicknames like some of our friends.
Yeah.
I love them both. I'm not taking jabs. Those are my brothers. But so, I just think right now it's a crucial time. Not that this matters to the public, but I'm married to a Black woman, and 80% to 90% of my income goes to Black businesses, right?
Mhm.
Most of my clientele are Black people, but that's still not, for me, I'm unapologetic in my opinion.
Yep.
I'll say this humbly and as aggressively as I can. I know that sounds like a contradiction, right? But all my life growing up, I would say that Black people were on the moral side of the argument 90% of the time.
Mhm.
However, today I can't say that.
Mm.
It's mind-boggling. We can get into the breakdown of the family, we can get into the influence of the music today, but brother, when I was growing up, Black people were builders,
Yeah.
and Black people had a pride and a dignity and a love for community and self that is almost diminishing in today. And some people get offended when people say that. Candace
No,
is like the
it's
old
true.
preachers.
It's
Yeah.
true. No, I think it's true, and it's funny that you're saying that because I was at the DIA, which is Detroit Institute of Arts, and I
Okay.
try to go at least 2 or 3 times a year. And they usually get new exhibits or new art in or whatever, so on and so forth. That's sponsored by somebody that curates a collection and brings in their collection or whatever. And it's awesome. Like, it's so much to see. But they had a new exhibit that was called the Regeneration, I think. And I had never seen it before, and it was my first time, and so it was relatively new. And what it did was it went through and it broke down the history of Black people in film. And so I got a chance to kind of go through it and observe it. And I was watching that, I was seeing, the history of certain things, and it was showing, the way that they had to enter into certain venues. And, they went through all of the different people and the performers, and it showed some silent films and stuff. And it kind of had me in awe, not necessarily to see, in that, oh man, this is what happened, because I'm largely familiar with what happened, how things played out. But it had me in awe because I was comparing it to how productive and how things were when people had a lot more pride about what it is that they were doing and what they represented versus what I see happen in the day. And so it actually speaks to what you were just saying, and that it was a different type of edge that people had, not just Black people, all people. It was just a different type of edge
Yes.
that they had and what it is that they was doing and what they represented, even if they were wrong, even if people were wrong, um, it was meaningful to them. You could tell you were able to have a conversation with somebody, or you could have a conversation. Even today, when I talk to people, I'm not looking for everybody to agree with me, but what I
Right.
am looking for is to get on an honest conversation from people, because that maybe gives me some insight, because I may even be wrong about something. But if I'm not open-minded to the possibilities, it's difficult for me to actually grow. And I don't think that any growth is what we're seeking anymore. I think what we're seeking is just to be validated, and there is no
Right.
growth in validation.
Right. Wow, that's powerful, because uh, with, I think it's Mark Lamont, correct me if I'm wrong, but like he's real active on the Palestinian Israel issue and just calling out people for who they are. But
Yeah.
one thing I admire about him and you, or you and him, is that you guys dialogue without taking it personal. if you look at some of the other channels that are out there on YouTube, they're like echo chambers, right? If you
Yeah.
don't agree, they block them. I just have a quick question for you. I don't know if I asked it yet. Okay, so is it true? I don't know where I heard this from. Is it true that Dr. Umar was going to try to charge you $30K to debate him?
No, that's not true.
That's not true. Okay.
That's not true.
Because that was, listen, brother, that was on, thank you for being honest, because a lot of us, I was on a show and they were reiterating that or kept saying that. So I wanted to ask you firstly, but if I can say this, and then I'll try to humbly bow out. Dr. Umar is as brilliant as he is.
Mhm.
I think he's got it right on his argument about children in school, black children, i.e., black boys in school, and the psychological effects and all. He's right on that. I agree with him 100%. I've actually studied his argument, and I agree with that. However, there is, I hate to say armchair philosophers because the brother is brilliant, but
Mhm.
when I was growing up, when black people said something, they went and built it next, right? And everybody's so hard on the black Christians or the black church, right? But I would humbly argue, as being a practicing Muslim, I was a practicing Muslim for 25 years.
Mhm.
And I say this to argument to anyone. Name me a group or a community who's built more, right? See, black people during segregation built hospitals, schools, and when you think about it from that aspect, it's really amazing how people criticize builders, right? And that's not getting into the whole W. Du Bois, Frederick Douglass, depending on the argument of it. But thank you for clearing that up. I just wanted to say that. And one last note. Do you remember the Tom Joyner show?
Mhm.
Forgive me because I'm so excited to talk to you. Do you remember they used to have that little skit when they would ask the white guy what's going on in white America?
No, I don't remember the details of Tom Joyner show. I do remember listening to it a little bit when I was on the way to school in high school some of the times, but I don't
Yeah,
remember
it was
the details of it.
that was crazy because I'm like you, brother. If you ever need me just to give my honest, raw opinion on the minds and the ways of white folks,
Mhm.
I'm all game for that. Because I think what happens is, as much as black and white people have a unique relationship in America with all the different dynamics, right? Unlike any other two groups of people in America,
Mhm.
there's still a lot of fear and unknown on both sides, right? That people are just afraid to speak about. I mean, just
Mm.
afraid. God bless you, brother. Thank you for your
Hey man,
time.
thank you for coming up, man, and you're more than welcome to always come up. Again, let me
Yes,
mention
sir.
your channel real quick. It's called Reactions by Sean Spillman.
Yes,
Spillman with
sir.
one L.
Yes,
Sean
sir.
SHAWN.
Yes,
Spillman
sir.
SPILMAN. Make sure y'all go and tap in with Sean. I
Yes, sir.
always like to support content creators, man. Thank you, my friend, for coming through. I appreciate
Man,
it,
it's been an
bro.
honor. It's been an honor. Thank you, brother.
All
Do
right,
I let you sign me out, or how's this work? I click
no,
out.
I could take it out. I could remove it.
God bless you. Have a great evening.
Yep. And anybody is, and shout out to Sean, anybody is more than welcome to be able to come up here and give their thoughts, especially if they disagree with me. You're more than welcome to be able to give your thoughts based off of that. Let me get back into this Candace Owens situation, and then I'm going to read some more super chats shortly. To where she was. Shout out to Sean.
Sounds good. And I think you'll find his answer to that to be pretty interesting. And that really is the question for all Americans right now. Does it make us uncomfortable to hear the truth? Yes, but would we rather be told lies? I think for a lot of people, yeah, they just want to exist in their little bubbles. They want to believe that everything that America is doing overseas is irrelevant or it is furthering democracy. We're spreading democracy because it's scary. It's scary to go the other way. It's scary to recognize that there is an entire system of, honestly, what I believe to be sheer evil that is operating above us. It's scary to consider that the CIA might be completely corrupt. It's scary to consider that they may have been the people that made the decision to have a sitting president killed, JFK Jr. It's scary to consider that they may have had everything to do with the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., an insane story of how Martin Luther King Jr. was killed. We have never had answers about that. And yet that same government who could have been involved in that assassination, then gives us Martin Luther King Jr. Day as what? Oh, here you are, here, just to make you happy to show.
Can we say that she one of the realest ever?
That you're actually progressing. We're going to give you a day off. That's not progress, guys. It's stupidity. And the emotionality, the persistent emotionality of not just Black Americans, but all Americans regarding topics, emotionality that is not backed by facts, that is not.
Oh, and man, I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna read that comment in 1 second. I just want to get the thoughts of the rest of the thoughts of Candace Owens.
Backed by history is why the government is able to do these sorts of things, is why the government is able to completely run over what the people want and to expand and fulfill their own initiatives overseas, even when we don't back it. Look at Ukraine. The American people are saying no. They don't care. They constantly are telling us to get to work because we're going to do what we want anyway. They're operating like a mafia, right? And that's scary for a lot of people to consider because we know what that means. When you are willing to tell the truth, the mafia will take you out, right? But we're coming to a place right now. I genuinely feel this in my soul. I have said this to my husband. I expressed this to Joe Budden, and I say this to everybody, that for the first time, I think people are starting to wake up. And this was best demonstrated to me the other day when I did a live talking about the birth control industry, talking about the government incentive to sterilize women and recognizing that it has been by and large successful via the pollution in public education, making sure people can't read but they feel women's health, my reproductive rights, my body, my choice. Propaganda created by governments and corporations to make sure that you poison yourself, that you can't have as many kids as they used to be able to have before this poison existed. The poison that's in our food, Monsanto. For the first time ever, people are starting to take a stance and starting to recognize that. So I remain optimistic every single day. And I express this to Joe Budden, not just for Black America, but for all of America, because for the first time, it feels like we are ready to hear the truth. And for that, I am grateful for COVID. I am grateful for how far the government went with censorship. I am grateful for how far they went in terms of trying to have autonomy over our bodies. We no longer had autonomy. They were trying to force vaccinate people. They were trying to demand vaccination in the workplace. And I think what happened is they overplayed their hand, and we're on the brink of a mass awakening. So
I think that Candace Owens is a national treasure. I think that she's a gem. Very few things I disagree with her. There has been some things that I disagree with her on in the past. The way that she handled my man that was getting a divorce, it was the white guy that was getting a divorce. I forgot what his name is. But the way that she tried to paint him in that situation, I disagree with her about. But overwhelmingly, I agree with her on almost every single thing that she says, especially about the culture of the Black community and holding ourselves accountable. I am not as optimistic as she is about Black people waking up. I'm not.